As I mentioned before, I love to undecorate and redecorate for the season. Here is our entryway. I call this piece here, my daughter made the United States of Texas with the Lone Star, but with the many stripes across the United States. And I just do a little bit here, a lot of patriotic, anything that's Mother's Day, Father's Day, and also I love to put up wedding pictures during this time of year. I also like to look through my magazines and put out magazines that are pertinent to that time of year. And these, of course, are back issues of the good old days and Victoria, but I just love them and I love having them out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you found me. I'm just so glad you're here with me today. I want to welcome you to week 22, Dream On, Planning for Summer. At the beginning of this video, I showed you a little bit of my decor for summer. This is something I do around quarterly to just kind of decorate and enjoy some of the beautiful things that I've been gifted over the years or have picked up on my own. This time of year around Mother's Day, we switch from spring into our summer decor, and that's when I put up more patriotic items to commemorate Memorial Day as well as the 4th of July. But I also, during the summer, that's when most people get married, and so what I have behind me are different wedding pictures of when my daughter got married, when my husband and I got married, as well as our parents and grandparents. So I love displaying those. And up here in the corner above my head is an airplane from the gentleman, the farm I worked on as a kid. He gifted that to my husband. And then there's a saying there from the woman who, she was a wonderful mentor. Her name was Diane. And her saying, she would say this all the time, where there's a will, there's family. So yeah. So she she would say that and it just would crack me up. She said, where there's a will, there's relatives. Same thing, but it cracked me up, and it was something my daughter, in honor of her, after she had passed, my daughter did that for me. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful little reminder. Well, this week's lesson is on Dream On, Planning for Summer. And I'm a planner. I am one of those people, I don't do well with spur of the moment things. I like to plan out as much as I possibly can. I try to be a willow, but I'm really kind of an oak. And it causes me anxiety when it's like, I can't wrap my head around a lot of last minute. I plan meals. I know I plan when I'm cleaning my house. That's just how I work. And that may not be how you work, and that's okay. But planning for summer can be really simple, such as the biggest thing for me would be just get together with your family, find out what they want to do. When my kids were little, and Lynn also says this, when her kids were little, during the summertime, she would plan those day camps. She would sign them up for the summer reading program, and I would do all those things too with my kids when they were little. But as they got older and into their teen years and they were involved in sports, then they were doing camps for sports at times, or they might have a part-time job and be working mowing lawns or doing more dog walking or things of that nature. So just kind of keep that in mind, that they may want to do those types of things. So have those discussions with them. They may be burned out from all the activities going on during the school year, and that should be a big red flag. If you guys are burnt out, you need to think about, and you should probably reevaluate those things that you are involved in and committed in. She goes on to talk about, being careful about what you watch on TV. And my husband, when it came to movies, we didn't have cable, and that was the only way for us to get television. But we did have access to Netflix, and sometimes we would rent movies. And so my husband would look up Movie Guide, and that's a Christian perspective on some of the movies that might be out there currently. And then there is also one for TV called Common Sense Media, and I've never actually used that one, because like I said, we didn't really have TV. So I didn't use that. My kids watched VeggieTales, they watched Disney movies, you know, whatever I felt was appropriate for them. But it's really important that we do talk to our family before we plan out our summer completely. Usually we have a family reunion, and I plan that, and I start planning that at least 1 year in advance, and that's for just one part of my dad's side of the family. And I enjoy doing that, but my kids don't always make it to that because they're adults and they have their own lives. Just want to remind you to take the time to pray for God's guidance as you plan your summer. Just make sure that you're taking your family's heart plans, ideas, and to heart as well. One of the things that we love doing, which I've mentioned multiple times, I'm sure, is picnics. They're inexpensive and fun to do, and you can do them pretty much anywhere. And one of the biggest places, again, I know I've mentioned this because it's such an odd thing that people have asked me about, is we would go to cemeteries because they were just beautifully cared for and fun and became a very interactive thing. I'm also a history buff, so I loved finding historical things, and my children and my husband also have a love for that as well. So it's kind of fun to find different things that are of interest in your area, little unique things. There was at one time a chocolate waterfall at a local candy store in our area, so that was a place we went. There's a church that has a labyrinth painted on some asphalt, and that was kind of fun to read about what this labyrinth is for and kind of walk through it and pray and you know, it's just kind of a neat, different thing to do. It's also a great time to get your kids really involved in chores around the house. When we don't teach our children chores, we are doing them a huge disservice. At some point, the goal is that they're on their own in their own home, and they need to know how to wash clothes, how to sort them and wash them, or do dishes. Which type of detergent do you use to wash dishes by hand versus using a dishwasher? So teaching your children some of those basic things is really important. What else? What else? One of the things that's on our list this year is going to the drive-in. There is one that I know of that is still in existence and running, and they are back up and running even during this COVID season. They're limited, so it's one of those things I really want to go. It's been years since we've gone, and I just am very excited about that. So there's lots of stuff out there that you can do, whether it's organized or not, there is stuff. So we are going to make the chocolate fondue recipe. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm going to do that tonight with my family. So I will make sure that that gets recorded on here. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you next week for School's Out. And I know not all of you will have school, will still be in school, or will be continuing school, or maybe not, I don't know. But we're going to discuss what it's like with School's Out, some things to do. So have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you next week, and God bless. Thanks for joining me. Making the chocolate fondue, and from the beginning it says in saucepan over low heat combine 4 tablespoons of butter and 8 ounces unsweetened chocolate. Well, I don't have 8 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, and so what I'm doing is I'm taking my baking cocoa, and here on the back it shows you how to substitute that. So it says to take 3 tablespoons of your baking cocoa plus 1 tablespoon of a shortening, and this isn't very clear, so I apologize for that, shortening or oil. I'm using shortening since I don't really use it for much else, and that will create 1 ounce of unsweetened baking chocolate. So that's one substitution I'm making. I am using a Kerrygold butter, which will be a wonderful rich flavor, and I will get that going on the stove and I'll be back. Instructions say, now that this is all melted and nice and yummy, we're going to add, let's see, keeping it on low heat, 1 3/4 cup sugar. So let me just add that. Yes, that's already out. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm assuming that's for thickening. I have no idea. Like, I don't really use this kind of stuff very often, so it's kind of interesting. No, I've never made this before, if you're asking that. And then somehow I have like corn syrup in my stash, so I'm going to put 1/4 cup of that. It also asks for a teaspoon of vanilla. And then the other thing it asks for is 13 ounces of evaporated milk, which I didn't have. So I tried to figure out what conversions there were. I happen to have this that I don't use. And I mixed it with water per the recommendation. And I have what I need. So that's what that is right there. So I'm going to add all of that to this. And keep stirring it until it says it's smooth and thick. And I'll be back when it's smooth and thick. It's been stirring on low heat, and we are going to try some strawberries, graham crackers, and some bananas. My son is my helper tonight. So here we go. You ready?
Yeah. Am I going?
Yeah. Mm?
It tastes like frosting.
Yeah. It does.
Really good. Kind of chocolatey and pudding-like.
Yeah, it is. So I don't know much about fondants. I'm gonna try the banana.
Mm.
Oh, that's really good.
Mmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's really tasty.
Of course, we shouldn't double dip, so I'm gonna dip the other end. Wow, that's really good with the banana.
Dang.
I brought out toothpicks, but we're not using them. You wanna try the strawberry?
Sure.
Oh man.
Pros of
Look at that.
cooking. Let me get messy.
I'm glad it's you. I'm recording and not me.
Oh no. There we go.
All right. Thank you, babe.
Mm-hmm.